BookTube, it's Janet and this is my reading week. So as you know, I'm doing Shelf Slam 2017 with Eleanor from Eleanor Reads Books and Brittany from Under the Radar Books, and we are reading books released in 2016 as March's theme. So far I've read 2 audiobooks, and the first one, I don't know if you can see, that is My Name is Lucy, Barton by Elizabeth Strout. This was, I think this has been shortlisted for quite a few prizes. It was okay. It's obviously literary fiction, so not a lot happens. Lucy starts where she's in hospital. There's complications. She's had some routine surgery, and you start to understand that she's estranged from her parents and her siblings, hasn't seen them for a long time, and then her mum comes to visit her. And they just have mundane conversations, reminiscing, and she feels closer to her mum in that time. Although we don't actually find out what the reason for the estrangement is, other than I think Lucy's done quite well for herself. She got herself educated and got a good job, whereas her siblings are quite different and she comes from quite a poor background. But you don't really find out what it is that's gone on. And then you get to a point where Lucy's had some further complications and is getting wheeled off back to surgery, and her mum just goes, she says, oh, I've got to go home now. And so she just goes, and she never sees her again. And then later you find out, years pass, and she dies, and Lucy finds out. And that's basically it. And it's well written, and there's things to think about, but it was okay. So I think I gave it 3 stars. It was alright. I think sometimes typical literary fiction, not a lot goes on there. The next one is The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. I really enjoyed this. This is set in Ireland, and it's sort of Victorian era times, and there is a young girl who has reportedly not eaten a thing for over 4 months. And there's a debate whether it's a gift from God, whether she's going to be the first Irish saint, is it a miracle? So the local town committee decide to prove if this is true, and they ask 2 nurses, one a nun and one a nurse from the UK, to come and sort of keep an eye on her and do this 24-hour vigil watching the young girl. And you follow the story through the British nurse, and she is quite sceptical that this girl cannot survive without food. It's all fakery, and so she's always looking to see if she's being smuggled food in other ways, because when she first arrives she looks quite well, and there's a 2-week period where she's supposed to be under observation, and as the 2 weeks go on, basically this girl starts to starve to death, and it's pretty clear that she starves to death, but she still refuses to eat because she thinks that she's got to do penance, got to offset her behaviour as a fasting and as a gift to help her brother who is dead get out of purgatory. And then you get into, there's an awful lot of backstory and things that have gone on, and I really enjoyed it actually. I thought at the beginning it was quite slow paced, but I did actually really enjoy it. And having experienced a Catholic upbringing myself as a child, where you're taught about hell and purgatory and sins and praying and paying your dues and don't do this, and if you eat meat on a Friday you'll go to hell, and all these kind of things, it sort of did highlight the ridiculousness of it, and again the big debate about control and guilt, and whatever your thoughts on religion. Having experienced it myself, I did identify with a lot of the thoughts and feelings that the girl sort of really truthfully believed, and so did the whole community. So yeah, I do recommend it. I don't want to tell you too much about the story because I'd be giving away the big reveals and what happened, but I do recommend it. I did enjoy that one, and it was really well read as well. I think her name was Kate Locke who read it, and she does fantastic Irish accents, so thoroughly recommend that one. The next 2 I've got to show you. The first one is Eliza Rose by Lucy Worsley, and this has got an absolutely fantastic cover, if you can see. Now, I was really excited about this one because I have such a girl crush on Lucy Worsley. If you don't know Lucy Worsley, she's a British historian whose position is the chief curator of the historic royal palaces. She writes history books and she presents lots of history programmes on the BBC in the UK, and she's absolutely fantastic, and she wears the most fabulous coats. So I was really pleased that she was doing a work of fiction. Now, this is middle grade, and it's obviously middle grade. But it really missed the mark for me. It's seen through the eyes of one of the ladies in waiting at the court of Catherine Howard, and I can see what she's trying to do. She's sort of trying to make history palatable to that younger generation, to sort of identify with, if they were at that age and that time, what their life would be and what they would experience and what they would see. And I get that, but it was very... I can't say it was particularly well written, and then there were bits in it where I felt that some of the language, although the writing was obviously very, very for a very young market, but again, so is Harry Potter, which seems to be much more sophisticated in the way it's written. The writing wasn't that good, but then you'd get things like where she's looking at being betrothed to marriage at the age of 12, which she is, and then they say, but you won't get married until you have your menses. Now, that isn't explained, and now I think a young child, say 9 to 12-year-old, wouldn't have a clue what that meant. And there were parts of it like that I thought, meh, they're not going to get where you're at there. But then there are other bits of it that seemed really, like, lame. So I was disappointed in it. I saw what she was trying to do, but yeah, I didn't think it hit the mark. And then the final one I've got to show you this week is Hexed by Thomas Oldrich, and this is translated from the Dutch. And this was a mass buddy read between myself, Tracy from Flamingo Reads, Brittany from Under the Radar Books, and Eleanor from Eleanor Reads Books. And we decided to read it together because it's a scary book, and we thought if it was going to scare the bejesus out of us, we wanted to have someone hold our hand. I'll just show you the cover, which is just fabulously dark and atmospheric. And if you can you see the face there? That face is probably Catherine. And Catherine is the witch that has lived in this town for hundreds of years. She's from the 17th century. And she appears randomly all over the town. Sometimes she will appear, you might be lying in bed asleep, and then you look in your eye and she'll be standing at the end of your bed watching you, although she has her eyes and her mouth stitched shut. And she's sort of decaying and grisly, but all she basically does is move around from place to place. She's quite predictable in her movements, and she just stands there. And the townsfolk have this organisation called Hexed, which monitors where she's at and protects the town from it, because apparently it's linked to West Point, the military academy, who know about it, and they fund the town, and they all work to keep it under wraps. The drawback is as well is that if you live in this town, you can't leave. You can leave for the day and go to work and things like that, but if you go away for any length of time, you start to have suicidal thoughts, and almost, and people have taken their own lives. So that's a drawback. And then obviously things start to happen where there are the meddling kids, as Scooby-Doo would say, and they start to interfere with Catherine, and obviously consequences are dire. As you can imagine, Catherine's not very happy with some of the things that they do to her, and it is creepy. It's scary. Obviously, they've got the woods like you will have in a witch story, and I did enjoy it, actually. It was much better than I thought it was going to be. The only thing is that I didn't get what I wanted from the ending. And some people might be happy with the ending, but it was a bit up in the air for me. And I like everything neat and tidy. So I did enjoy it. I do recommend it if you want a nice creepy read. It'd be a great one for Halloween to read. So that was my reading week. So let me know if you've read any of these and how you're getting along, if you're reading along with us in the Shelf Slam. I will see you all soon. Keep reading. Bye!